Keyingi qismga o'tamiz. Section 3 ga o'tamiz. Section 3 da o'zing ko'rganingdek multiple choice savollar berilgan. Section 3 questions 21 to 30 ABC hammasi multiple choice savollari. Study on gender in physics. Demak, fizikadagi jins o'zlanishlari izlanishlar ko'ramiz nima haqida ekan. Hop, 21. Students in Akira Murayaki study were all majoring in. Demak, Akira Murayaki studydagi o'quvchilar hammasi nimada major qilgan? Psychology, physics, psychology or physics, science, technology, engineering and mathematics. Ko'ramiz. The aim of Murayaki study was to investigate. Demak, Murayakini studyni maqsadi nima bo'lgan? Investigate nimani izlantirgan? What kind of women choose to study? Qanaqa ayollar fiziksni choose qilgan? Ayollarni fizikadagi performanceini improvement qilish bo'yicha kamroq ayollar erkaklardan ko'ra kollejda fiziksni study qiladimi, o'shani topish kerak bo'lgan. 23. Female physics students were wrong to believe. Demak, ayol anolar xotin-qizlar, studentlar bir narsaga ishongan, lekin wrong to believe, ya'ni ular rost bo'lmagan, to'g'ri bo'lmagan, haq bo'lmagan, o'shanga ishonishi haq bo'lmaganda. Teachers mark them in unfair way. Demak, o'qituvchilar bizani noto'g'ri xato balo qo'yishadi degan, lekin unaqa bo'lmagan. Male students expected them to do badly. Demak, erkaklar ularni yomon qilishadi, to do, like perform qilishini kutishgan, realize qilishgan. Their test results were lower than male students. Demak, erkak studentlarga qaraganda testlar rezultatlari yomonroq bo'lgan. 24. Miyaki's team asked students to write about. Demak, Miyakini komandasi studentlarni nimadir yozish haqida so'ragan. What they enjoyed about studying physics, studying physicsdagi nimani yaxshi ko'rganligi, successful experience of other people, boshqalarni successful experiences, something was important and personally. Ular uchun shaxsan muhim bo'lgan narsa. What was the aim of the writing exercise done by subjects? Demak, bu studyni subjectlari, ya'ni o'sha izlanishni ostidagi odamlar tomonidan yozilgan writing exercise'ni maqsadi nima bo'lgan? Reduce stress, strengthen verbal ability, encourage logical thinking. Ko'ramiz. What surprised researchers about the study? Surprised keyword bo'lsin, researchers about the study. How few students managed to get A? Nimaga qanchalik kam odam A olgan? Positive impact is had on physics results of women. Ayollarni o'sha rezultatlaridagi wow, it broke. Ayollarni fiziksdagi rezultatlaridagi yaxshi impact, ya'ni pozitiv ta'sir. Difference between male and female performance. Demak, erkaklar va ayollar orasidagi difference, ya'ni farqlar. Greg and Lisa think Miyaki's result could have affected by. Greg and Lisa ishonishadiki Miyaki's rezultatlari nima bilandir effect qilingan. Length of the writing task, number of students who took part, information students were given. Demak, shunda uzunligi writing taskni studentlarni soni 10 ta, 20 ta, 30 ta, 40 ta. Studentlarga berilgan informatsiya. 28. Greg and Lisa decide that in their own project they will compare the effects of. Demak, Greg and Lisa o'zini studyda nimani effektini compare qilar ekan. Two different writings, a writing task and oral task, two different oral tasks. Why? Two different oral tasks. Demak, shunda writing oral, two writing, two oral bo'lar ekan. Ko'ramiz. Main finding of Smolinsky research was that class teamwork activities. Demak, Smolinsky's research main finding shundan bo'lib bo'lgan ekan-ku, class teamwork activitylar nima qilgan? Most effective when done by all women groups, no effect on performance of one man, improves the results of men more than. Hamma ayollar bo'lgan vaqtda eng effektiv bo'lgan, erkaklar yoki ayollarning performansiga ta'sir qilmagan, erkaklarning rezultatlarini ko'proq ta'sir qilgan. What will Lisa and Greg do next? Nima qilishadi ikkalasi endi bundan keyin? Talk to professor, observe science class, look at the science timetable. Science timetable ga qarashar ekan, science classda o'tirib observe qilishar ekan yoki professor bilan gaplashar ekan. Xo'p, demak, bularni endi savollarga javoblarni eshitsak bo'ladi. Audiolarni eshitishni boshlaymiz. Birgalikda eshitib, javoblarni topishga harakat qilamiz.
Like woodwork.
3. You will hear two psychology students called Lisa and Greg discussing a project they have to do. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 27.
O'qib olasiz.
About the study of...
Okay, Greg. So I finally managed to read the article you mentioned. The one about the study on gender in physics.
About the study of college students done by Akira Miyake and his team. Yeah, I was interested that the researchers were actually a mix of psychologists and physicists. That's an unusual combination.
Yeah. I got a little confused at first about which students the study was based on. They weren't actually majoring in physics. They were majoring in what's known as the STEM disciplines. That's science, technology, engineering and
math. Yes.
O'z ko'rganingizdek, menga qiziqarli bo'lgan qismi researcherlar psychology bilan physics deydi-da. Bu researcher bo'ladigan bo'lsa, student unaqa bo'lmaydi. Studentlar fiziksda major qilmagan, ular STEM degan sohada, ya'ni science, technology, engineering, mathsda major qilgan-da. Mana researchers were actually a mix of psychologists and physicists. Demak, B chiqib ketdi. They weren't actually majoring in physics. Demak, A ham chiqib ketdi. They were majoring in what's known as the STEM disciplines. Demak, javob C bo'ldi.
But they were all doing physics courses as part of their studies.
That's correct. So, as I understood it, Miyake and co. started from the fact that women are underrepresented in introductory physics courses at college, and also that on average, the women who do enroll on these courses perform more poorly than the men. No one really knows why this is the case.
Yeah, but what the researchers wanted to find out was basically what they could do about the relatively low level of the women's results. But in order to find a solution, they needed to find out more about the nature of the problem.
O'z ko'rganingizdek, Miyake studyni boshlaganda kamroq ayollar erkaklardan ko'ra study qilishini bilgan, demak seçib ketdi. What kind of women haqida gapirgani yo'q. Ularni aimi what can they do about it? Demak, nima qilsa bo'ladi, ularni yaxshi ball olmayotganini, yaxshi natija chiqarolmayotganligini ko'tarish uchun. Mana started from the fact that women are underrepresented. Demak, C chiqib ketdi. What the researchers wanted to find out, find out was basically what they could do about the relative low level. What they could do about the relatively low level of women's results. Nima qilsa o'zgarsa bo'ladi degan gapni topishga harakat qilgan. Shuning uchun ham javob B bo'ldi.
Right. Now, let's see if I can remember. It was that in the physics class, the female students thought the male students all assumed that women weren't any good at physics. Was that it? And they thought that the men expected them to get poor results in their tests.
That's what the women thought, and that made them nervous. So they did get poor results. But actually, they were wrong. No one was making any assumptions about the female students at all.
Anyway, what Miyake's
Tushunarli. Demak, ayollar o'ylagan, erkaklar bizani qilmaydi, bizani qilmaydi, bizani past ball oladi deb o'ylaydi deganda, realni ham shunaqa bo'lgan, past ball chiqqan. Anolari, rezultatlari, lekin wrong bo'lgan. Hech kim hech narsa o'ylamagan, o'sha uchun wrong bo'lgan. Teacher haqida umuman gapirgani yo'qdi. Female students thought that male students all assumed that women weren't any good at physics, and they thought that the men expected that to get better results, but actually they were wrong. They didn't. No one was making any assumption. Demak, erkaklar bilan qatib o'ylamang. Erkaklar hech ishi bo'lmagan ayollarga, lekin o'zlaricha anaqa qilgan insecurity bo'lganda, o'ziga ishonch yo'q bo'lganda, keyin testdan yomon ball chiqarib qolgan. Shuning uchun ham javob B bo'ladi.
team did was quite simple. Getting the students to do some writing before they went into the physics class. What did they call it?
Values affirmation. They had to write an essay focusing on things that were significant to them, not particularly to do with the subject they were studying, but more general things like music or people who mattered to them.
Right.
O'z ko'rganingizdek, value statementmi, qanaqa bo'lgan ismi? Value affirmation is they had to write an essay focusing on things that were significant to them. o'ziga muhim bo'lgan narsalarni yozish kerak bo'lgan mana. It was important to them personally. Shaxsan muhim bo'lgan narsalarni subject bilan bo'lish shart bo'lmagan. O'sha uchun studying physics chiqarib tashladik. Bunaqa people who matter to them success and experience narsa yo'q, lekin ular uchun kerak bo'lgan odamlar haqida ma'lumot bor. Shuning uchun ham javob C bo'ldi.
So the idea of doing the writing is that this gets the students thinking in a positive way.
And putting these thoughts into words can relax them and help them overcome the psychological factors that lead to poor performance. Yeah. But what...
Xo'p, demak, reduce the psychological stress dedi qisqasi. E plus nimadir dedi yana. And putting these thoughts into words can relax them and help them overcome the psychological factors that lead to poor performance. Qisqasi shu javob. Reduce stress qilmoqchi bo'lgan. Verbal activity haqida umuman gap bo'lgan yo'q. Logical thinking haqida umuman gap bo'lgan yo'q. 26 ga o'tamiz.
The researchers in the study hadn't expected was that this one activity raised the women's physics grades from the C to the B range.
A huge change. Pity it wasn't to an A, but still. No, but it does suggest that the women...
O'z ko'rgazda ular nimani kutmaganda, ular ayollarni natijalari C dan B ga chiqarib ketdi. Great result dedim bir narsa dedi. What the researchers in the study hadn't expected mana. Ular kutmagan, ожидали, kutilmagan bo'lgan, surprise qilib qo'ygan ularni. Was the activity raised the women's physics grades. Demak, bu activity ularning bu harakati ayollarni fizikadan ballarini C dan B ga ko'targan. Huge change. Shuning uchun ham positive impact bo'ladi. Javob B bo'ladi.
Was seriously underperforming beforehand in comparison with the men.
Yes. Mind you, Miyake's article left out a lot of details, like did the students do the writing just once or several times? And had they been told why they were doing the writing? That might have affected the results.
You mean if they know the researchers thought it might help them to improve, then they just try to fulfill that expectation?
Exactly.
O'z ko'rgazlik length of writing haqida gapirgani yo'q, number of students haqida gapirgani yo'q, necha marta yozganligi, qanaqa informatsiya haqida bo'lganligi haqida ma'lumot borligi uchun C'ni oldik. Mana left out a lot of details. Did the students just write or several times and they been told? Had they been told what they were doing writing, why they were doing writing? This might have affected the results. Qisqasi information aniq qilgan bo'lishi mumkin, ta'sir qilgan bo'lishi mumkin, ularni nima qilganligi, qanaqa qilganligi. Shuning uchun ham javob C bo'ldi. Keyingiga o'tamiz.
Before you hear the rest of the discussion and answer questions 28 to 30.
Let's go.
So anyway, I thought for our project we could do a similar study, but investigate whether it really was the writing activity that had that result.
Okay, so we could ask them to do a writing task about something completely different. Something more factual? Like a general knowledge topic?
Maybe. Or we could have half the students doing a writing task and half doing something else, like an oral task.
Or even half do the same writing task as in the original research and half do a factual writing task. Then we'd see if it really is the topic that made the difference or something else.
That's it. Good. So,
Xo'p, qisqasi qanaqa qilamiz o'zimiz studying dedi. Bittasi writing, bittasi oral bo'la qolsin dedi. Oxiri bittasi writing, bittasi factual bilan to'xtaydigan bo'ldi. Half do the same writing task as in the original research, half do the factual writing task. Demak, bu qismda two different writing tasks bo'ladi. Shuning uchun ham javob A. B'ni chiqarib tashlashdi.
our meeting with the supervisor on Monday, we can tell him we've decided on our project. We should have our aims ready by then. I suppose we need to read the original study. The article's just a summary.
And there was another article I read by Smolinski. It was about her research on how women and men perform in mixed teams in class, compared with single-sex teams and on their own.
Let me guess, the women were better at teamwork.
That's what I expected. But actually, the men and the women got the same results, whether they were working in teams or on their own.
Let me guess dedi. Women got better dedi. Yo, men ham shuni kutgandim, lekin bir xil bo'ldi. Qanaqa qilsa ham. The men and women got the same result whether they were working in a team or they on their own. Qisqasi effect bo'lmagan.
But I guess it's not that relevant to us.
What worries me anyway is how we're going to get everything done in the time.
We'll be okay now we know what we're doing. Though I'm not clear how we assess whether the students in our experiment actually make any progress or not.
No, we may need some advice on that. The main thing's to make sure we have the right size sample, not too big or too small.
That shouldn't be difficult. Right, what do we need to do next? We could have a look at the timetable for the science classes, or perhaps we should just make an appointment to see one of the science professors. That'd be better.
Great, and we could even get to observe one of the classes.
What for?
Well, okay, maybe let's just go with your idea. Right.
Qisqasi nima dedi? Science table'ga ko'ramiz yoki professor bilan gaplashib olamiz dedi. Da, professor bilan gaplashamiz yoki science club hozir qolishimiz mumkin dedi. Nima uchun? Nima qilasan? Nima dedi? Maqsad nima dedi? Voy, mayli o'zing bilan, seni ideyang bilan qo'yamiz dedi. Qisqasi mana. We could just make an appointment to see one of the science professors. That would be better. Great, dedi. We could even get observe one of the classes. Dedi. Well, okay. What for? Dedi. Nima uchun dedi. Ho, mayli seni ideyang bilan qo'yaylik dedi. O'sha uchun ham bechib ketdi. Science table ham chiqib ketadi. Shu bilan bugungi darsimiz o'z oxiriga ketadi. Hamma savollarga javoblarni underline qildim, circle qildim. Hammasini o'qib olinglar, vocabulary shu bilan keyingi darsda ko'rishguncha xayr, bye bye.